Good morning, AP Research. Mr. Muller here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about what, why, and order to statements. As we begin this journey in AP Research, as you are deciding what to focus on for your 4,000 to 5,000 word research paper, we have to discuss how you start this journey. That's what this video is all about, how to take your basic interests and turn it into something that's actually researchable. Hope you're excited. I'm excited. Let's get started. Now, what, why, and order to statements is not something that I've created. It comes from one of the foundational theory books on research methodology. And what it does is it takes you through a process of initial interest all the way to a what, why, and order to statement that can be used as a basis for research. So this video will focus on that process. Again, make sure you take detailed annotations as instructed in previous videos, so that I can make sure you've interacted with this content. Here we go. The first thing you do in a what, why, and order statement is identify potential interests. Now, these are not things like hobbies. If you're identifying an interest as a particular sports team, that's not going to be really valuable for you. I've seen people try to focus on social media text or things like emojis or things like a sports franchise, and it typically doesn't lead to research, because a lot of research hasn't been done on it. A lot of meaningful research has been done on this. So think of some academic interests. Think about the podcasts that you listen to. Think about the things that you really enjoyed studying and creating an AP seminar. Use that as the basis for your interests. Scratch your mental itch. Something to keep in mind as you're identifying interests is you're going to be becoming a local expert on your subject of interest, not a total expert. You're not going to revolutionize the field of whatever you're going to study. You're focusing on a very small aspect of a particular topic. So just keep in mind you're becoming a local expert, not a total expert. Now, once you have a list of interests and possible topics, narrow it down into one or two you think would be most beneficial. Again, think about the topics you did in an AP seminar, think about the podcasts that you listen to, the things that you read about, academic interests. Then what you're going to do is do some basic exploration on those topics. Figure out what the current conversation is about that topic, what people are asking, what basic research has been done. So Google the topic. Go on to subreddits and look on forum discussions about news articles about that topic. Look at abstracts in professional articles. Go to JSTOR, EBSCOhost, just read the abstracts and see what basic research is being done and what the current conversation is. You could also go to the end of research papers where they have a next steps or call for further research section where they tell you what should be researched further. That can help you identify where the conversation is. Also, go to Google Scholar if you don't want to go to EBSCOhost or JSTOR. Try all these avenues. Figure out what the current conversation is on one or two of those topics. Now, if you're finding you're not getting a lot, go to some of those other topics and interests that you've identified. When you know the general outline of your topic and how others have narrowed it, then you can try and narrow yours. Again, start off with a 1 or 2 word topic, investigate it, see if you can get it a little bit more detailed. Now, because this is going to be an advanced project, I am going to give you some more advanced tips. Find what interests other researchers. Previously, I said go to the bottom of research papers that you might find in JSTOR, Google Scholar, EBSCOhost. Now, these are not professional journals. These are research papers. At the very bottom, they'll say what further research needs to take place. Those are very good suggestions. Go to academic journals and skim the topics. See what the current conversation is in your discipline of focus and investigate the resources in our library. Now, once you've done that and you've been able to figure out current conversations, what you need to do is take your broad topic, which is 1 to 2 words, and make it a focus topic. Your topic is too broad if you can state it in 4 to 5 words. You need a good complex sentence to really have a focused topic that has a proper scope. And use verbs like conflict, description, or developing. For instance, a decent example of this would be a focused topic, the conflict of free will and inevitability in Tolstoy's description of 3 battles in War and Peace. Now, this is from a literature discipline, and what this person probably did was looked on other resources in EBSCOhost or JSTOR, maybe looked at different research papers and saw that there was a lot of conversation about Tolstoy's War and Peace and the idea of free will, but there was also suggestions that maybe it needed to be extrapolated into the idea of inevitability. So that's a focus topic. Once you've got a focus topic, and again, you want to do it for at least 2 of those interests that you have. Again, if you're going through one of them and you're really not able to get a focus topic, throw that topic out, go to another one. That's why you initially just start this off by having a list of academic interests. Now, what you're going to do once you have that focus topic is write specific questions that are worth asking, things that need to be answered. Because if it's not worth answering, it's not worth doing research on. Again, you're not trying to gather all the data on a topic, you're just formulating questions, and you should be able to get those questions based on that preliminary quick research that you did on JSTOR, EBSCOhost, Google Scholar, going to forum discussions, or checking it out on Google. Then you're going to evaluate all the questions on those, let's say, 2 to 3 topics that you've chosen. And you're going to cross out meaningless questions. Questions like, the answer is just purely fact, it's not speculative, it doesn't require research. The answer is a dead end. We can never really be able to answer that question because of various factors. And then you'll have a couple of decent questions, you should have a couple of decent questions left to then make your what, why, and order to statement. So, here's what a what, why, and order to statement looks like. It is fill in the blank. First sentence, I am trying to learn about X. That's the focus topic that you were able to narrow down. Step 2, because I want to find out. And this is, again, an indirect question. What are you trying to, what is the rationale for you researching this? Why is it important? And the third part is the in order to help my reader understand. All research is driven toward a particular academic community. If I write a history research paper, it's being targeted toward the history academic field. If it's for education, if I write a professional education journal, it's being targeted toward my peers as a teacher. So you have to think about, why is this research helpful for your discipline? What do you want to help your readers understand? So here's a quick little rubric that we're going to be using throughout this whole year in order to assess how effective a what, why, and order to statement is. Now, I'm not going to focus on does not meet, and I'm not going to focus on does not meet ever in class. Even in the AP research and AP presentation oral defense rubric, I'm never focusing on that low section because it just means that you haven't met what the meet section is. So here's the difference between a meets and an exceeds in a what, why, and order to statement. 1, a focused topic with a proper scope. That's really making sure you've got that focused topic. It's about a sentence. I can tell that it's not too broad. An insightful question, so it's not just valuable in terms of, okay, you're answering why it's important, but wow, you know what? I can tell that you've done enough preliminary research to really understand the value of this particular topic that you've identified. And the so what has targeted your specific discipline, not just the general public. So let's apply this rubric to a few exemplars. Now, I'm going to use exemplars in these videos so that you know what I am looking for, so that you can mirror different levels of proficiency and you can assess yourself, because really my goal is to make you your own teachers. So here's an exemplar. I am trying to learn about the freemium app structure, which allow users to convert their real money into an artificial currency, which then can be used within the game to buy certain items in the game or speed up processes. I would like to do this because it is the visible future of gaming, and because Pokemon Go's artificial currency technique has earned the company nearly $14 million within a week of its release, and increasingly the tactic has been more popular and fruitful for app developers than ever before. It is becoming very common, and all the top grossing apps use this method to make money. I want to do this in order to understand the change in human perception, which leads to users spending more money while using artificial cash. Now, this isn't a... Okay, let's take a look at this first. I'm going back to the rubric. I'm looking at the topic first. Is it a proper scope? Well, it's a freemium app structure. The issue is there might be a lot of freemium app structures. It might not be a singularity. So I would ask the student, is there only one type of freemium app structure? So at this point, I would give it a meets, and I would need a rationale to call it or assess it as an exceeds. If we're looking at the second section, I need an insightful question that demonstrates they've done some research. So they're talking about Pokemon Go and how much money it makes, and it's becoming very common for making money, and they're listing other apps. So it seems like they've done specific research on this, but I don't understand why this is important for me. Okay, they're making a lot of money off this, and it's the future of gaming, but okay, but games make a lot of money anyway. The point of gaming and creating these game apps is to make money. I don't know why using a freemium app structure is significant. So I would give it a meets at this point, and I need a little bit more rationale. And lastly, I want to do this in order to understand the change in human perception which leads to users spending more money while using artificial cash. Now this is where I actually have to look at this rubric and say, all right, is this even a valuable so what? And I'm actually going to say it's invaluable. I'm actually going to say it does not meet. So I would actually assess this as it does not meet because of that last section, and here's the reason why. It seems like at first they're looking at this through maybe an economic discipline or a technological discipline, and then at the very end they switch to a purely psychological discipline. So I don't see any connection between the audience that you're targeting and the topic that you're looking at. It's disjointed, it is invaluable, and it doesn't really ever address not only the specific discipline, but it's also not valuable because it doesn't connect with the previous exemplar. Let's take a look at another example. I'm trying to learn about the toxicity levels in the water filters of X school because I want to find out whether a self-constructed Bernoulli filter will either increase or decrease the amount of toxicity found in an X school filter in order to help conclude what form of filter would be better for a clean water supply at X school in the long run. Let's take a look at the rubric here. So, is it a focused topic? Is it an insightful question? And is it specific toward a discipline? Well, it is a focused topic because they're looking at toxicity levels in specific water filters at a particular school, so it is particularly focused. It looks like they're looking at one particular filter that will increase the toxicity. But I'd love to know a little bit more about why. So I don't think it's necessarily insightful for the second component. And to figure out what would be better for a clean water supply at X school in the long run, that's good, but what about the broader discipline? Why would we care about the filter at one school? So I would say this would be a meets at this point. Now let's take a look at one more. I'm trying to learn about the beauty premium, which is the benefit people receive from being attractive. Okay, focus topic on one particular thing. Let's take a look at it, see if it's an insightful indirect question, because I want to find out the impact that it has on the interactions and communication between individuals. Okay, I don't know if this is the best scope. Impact has an interactions and communication between individuals. I'd love to know just what do you mean individuals? In order to help my reader understand the dependency we place on physical appearances to make decisions. Okay, that is specific to a particular discipline. We're looking at psychology. So at this point, I have to wonder if you've done preliminary research, you haven't done a ton, is this insightful enough? And I'm going to have to say, in my professional opinion, it would. So this would be a exceed. This is what you are shooting for in terms of a what, why, and order statement. So hopefully, use these exemplars as a guide, and we're going to be looking at more in class. Well, that's it for today. Hope you learned something you didn't know before. Thanks for watching.